80% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Today on the YARebels, it is subscriber Q&A day. So you ask the questions and I'm going to answer them. Let's make this happen. Bring it on. Vanilla Heart 62 asked, when did you seriously get into writing? What made you think I want to write and publish a novel and then go from there? In 2008, I was wrapping up my master's in English program, and I had a mentor who suggested that I might want to go after an MFA and really study the craft of writing. She thought I had some talent. So that was when I decided to get serious about it. I decided if I was going to invest in an MFA program, then I really wanted to have something at the end of that program to show for the work. Vanilla Heart 62 also asked, what is your favorite color? I'm not really sure. I have to think on that one. Infinite Bookshelf asked, what books or authors have been a major influence for your writing? I think you've heard me talk about how Laurie Halse Anderson and Gail Forman have had an influence on me. Some other teen books that I read when I was a teen that I loved, my favorite authors were Lois Duncan and Joan Lowry Nixon. Read a lot of those in addition to Christopher Pike. But from the adult side, I'm a major fan of Raymond Carver. I think that his short stories just have such an amazing brevity to them, but they're still so packed with emotion. And then they also have this use of insignificant details that become really important. And I've tried to utilize that in my own work. And then I'm also a big fan of Dickens. He has an amazing way of describing a character that I would love to emulate, that a character becomes so three-dimensional from just a description of that character, and I've really tried to do that in my own work. Sue Morrow asked, what genre do you like to read the most? What are some of your favorite titles or authors of that genre? I would have to say, obviously, YA is my favorite, but I feel like reading is kind of like going to a Las Vegas buffet. And you can't subsist on sunflower seeds and bank of beans alone. As much as I tried to convince my mother at age 7. She said I had to pick more from the buffet considering she was paying 20 bucks for it. So, like that buffet, I feel like you need more than YA in your reading palette. I love romance. Romance is a guilty pleasure without the guilt. I also am a big fan of adult fiction. I think you need that in your diet. I also love to see what else is being done craft-wise in other books. And then on top of that, I think nonfiction books feed a desire for knowledge. I love just digging into a topic and researching it to death and learning about things. So I think I need a little bit of everything for my palate. Roto22 asked, you have clearly read widely. What are your favorite undiscovered books that should still be rediscovered or even discovered for the first time and read now? I don't think that Jasper Fforde gets talked about nearly enough. He's just brilliantly funny. And then I think Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere is just so wholly original and fun, and he has a way of creating characters that's Dickensian that I really like. They're just very striking. I loved A.S. Byatt's Possession. I loved the mix of poetry and time periods and different characters. If you've never read the original Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, do. It's so charming. Other books, Richard Russo's Empire Falls, Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House, big fans of both of those. Jane Eyre for sure, love Jane Eyre. And it's kind of hard to slog through, but Ovid's Metamorphoses. Ash Bash 8520 asked, how can I get my hands on a copy of If I Lie? August 28th. You can buy it, my friend. It's just a week away. And Mr. Inkblood asked, who is your favorite character from If I Lie and Touched? I tend to write in a first-person POV, so I think that lends itself to meaning that my main character must be my favorite character. It would have to be because I spend the most time in their head. But if you ask me which scenes I have the most fun writing between that main character and another character in the book, that's also easy to answer. With touched, I love writing scenes with Gabe. He's the brother in the book, and he doesn't have that many scenes, but he's just kind of a badass, and he doesn't have a problem with being rude, and you feel like he says what's on his mind, but you also feel like you don't know what he's really thinking. So I don't know, I love writing him. There's something fun about his scenes, and there's an edge of danger to him too that I just really enjoy. As for If I Lie, George. George, George, George. 1,000 times George. I think George is one of my favorite characters that I've ever written. I just adore him. If you haven't read If I Lie yet, he is a Vietnam vet that appears in the book that becomes a really good friend to Quinn, the main character. And a lot of my heart goes into George. He's a smart ass like you wouldn't believe. He's one of those that like would smoke cigars and tell dirty jokes, but he's just a hell of a good time to be around, and he's got a huge heart, and I love that about him. So thank you for that question. I love talking about George. Thank you so much for all the questions from everybody. I had a lot of fun answering those. And next week, oh my gosh, If I Lie hits stores everywhere. Woo! Party! I'm going to be having a launch party at the Book Sync at Opera Plaza at 7 p.m. on August 28th, my launch day. Did I mention that? Did I mention it was my launch day? And next week on the Rebels, we are doing a week themed around lies. So I can't wait, guys. Thank you for supporting me along this journey. I can't wait for next week. Maybe a little excited. Just a little bit. A little bit. All right, I love you guys. I got stuff to do. Bye.